Hello, hello. Welcome back. It's Adri. Welcome back to Mother Knows Best. Oh my goodness. You're okay? Sorry, Grayson's here. Aw, he's sleepy. So he's a little grumpy. But welcome back. This is my, like I said in the first video I posted, 1922. I was doing 2 quick reviews today, so this is my second one. I'm really excited about this one because it's a show that when it first came out, I've been really keeping up with it. It's a Netflix show, and it's Stranger Things. I think, everyone was super excited for season 2. And really, I first watched it, I kind of stumbled upon it. The first season when it first came out forever ago. It's probably only been a year. But Grayson, leave Wilbur alone. Grayson. All right. As long as he doesn't destroy him, we're good. He never gets in Wilbur's lap. That's really weird. Anyway, yeah, Stranger Things 2. Super excited. I really enjoyed this season. And yeah, I'm going to jump right in, then we'll get all of it out of the way, get all my emotions. I know it's weird. I'm not usually animated with things that I review. It takes a lot for me to be really into something, or at least to show it. Like I get really into things, but it takes a lot for me to show it. Like I'm sure, there are specific things that if you've been listening to me since the beginning that that I specifically like. But yeah, anyway. All right, so Stranger Things Season 2, it was released October 27th of this year. Once again, the Duffer brothers were involved, which I think they're going to be involved, I think they said that we're getting 4 seasons of this show. So I don't know when season 3 is coming out. I'll look that up. But yeah, so, it stars, I think the most well-known, other than Winona Ryder, of the kids are Finn Wolfhard and Millie Bobbie Brown. They play, Mike and 11. And, I was so excited. I really liked this season. I wouldn't say I liked it more than season 1. I think season 1 is still my favorite, because there was a different feeling between the seasons. There definitely was, which, I expected. I expected it to be a little different. Like, I'm not expecting, things to outshine the other. I don't jump into things trying to base it, especially if it's a sequel. I don't try to base it off the first one. I try to base it off of, how they've developed from the first one. And development-wise, they did a great job. But season 1 just had this feeling to it of the kids, the kids were a lot more centered, I think. Whereas in this one, it was a bunch of different arcs going on within, the series. I liked that in the first one, the kids, they had all these secrets and things that they were dealing with. They wanted to deal with these things on their own, having their own sort of adventure. And then kind of bringing the adults in at the end. Whereas this season, the adults and everybody were already involved with everything that was going on. But I definitely have a lot of things that I liked that they did, in this season. So I'll get into that. One of the things I will say, I think my favorite arc out of, everybody's stories in this one, Noah Schnapp, who plays Will, did a fantastic job. That was Will's story throughout this whole season was my favorite. And I think I don't want to say that it was mainly because, we didn't really get to interact with Will as much. I solely think it was because they did a great job with it. Him dealing with having, that he's still connected to the Upside Down, dealing with, all the monsters and things that he keeps seeing, and the way that, they connected him with everything, because because if you haven't watched season 2 yet, I'm trying not to give, any spoilers, because with these reviews, I try not to do that. They did. He did an amazing job. There were so many emotions he captured. And, that's one of the things I like about this series is that these kids are like, I think they're all under 16. I don't know which one's the youngest. I feel like, I know Millie Bobby Brown is 13. And I know Finn is 14. And I think they're all within that age of 13 to 16, all the kids. And they do a great job. They all do. And they're so cute. Like, I see all their, like, little internet videos and things that they post, and they all, like, they're so goofy, and they have so much fun. I love that. And I want them to be able to enjoy doing this series and, being, with this fan base and stuff, but I want them to be able to be kids about it. So if you get the chance, to meet any of these kids, don't be weird, like, keep in mind that they're still children, and especially at this, developmental stage in their lives, that they're having to deal with a lot. Growing up is hard enough without, everybody watching you grow up. Noah Schnapp, he did a fantastic job. He really did. I mean, all the kids do. They really do. Hi, Luke. Don't touch my microphone, please. Dustin's still my favorite. I really like Dustin. I'm glad his teeth came in. Dustin's just, I don't know. I like those little goofy kids, so he was so cute. Oh, Steve. Admittedly, I didn't like Steve in season 1, that popular guy who he only cares about himself and things like that. And I never really understood at the end of season 1 why Nancy took him back. I don't know. I didn't like that, because he basically, allowed his friends to call her out and, call her a slut and everything. Even though he didn't have, she's dealing with the fact that Barb was missing and, like, he didn't know what was going on, like, why she was hanging out with Jonathan, Anyway, like, I get that, she was lying to him and didn't want him, involved with what she was doing, but I don't know. I didn't like that they got back together, basically. As for season 2, I felt like he didn't deserve at the beginning, what happened with him and Nancy. I don't think he deserved that. Like I said, I'm trying not to spoil anything. But his whole thing with the kids, towards the end, the last few episodes, him hanging out with Dustin and then him kind of babysitting all the kids, that was so cute. I don't know, he sort of renewed himself as a character. He came out as, I can be, just as goofy or as dumb and, just as normal as all these other kids, which that was the thing, in season 1, he was just, the cool guy, whereas this season he's, been knocked down from his throne basically, and he's just one of the other drones, I guess. But I did really enjoy that, he got to come out as a character more. And yeah, he sort of adopted all the kids. But yeah, his scenes with Dustin were my favorite. Let's see. I loved Eleven's arc. I think that's where my first critique comes in, because with 11, she's kind of exploring herself a little more in this season. She doesn't really reconnect with anyone else until kind of towards the end. That was another thing I think I didn't like that carried on from season 1, is that, to me, it didn't make sense why Hopper was just leaving food in the woods when I don't think he really knew that 11 was out there, I think. They never really established that. It just seemed like he was just sort of leaving food out here just in case, I think it would have been more interesting if, like, they'd had a scene where he actually did see her while she was wandering around, and that's why he started leaving the food to kind of, win her trust with him. So, minor spoiler, like, when you first see 11 again, she's living with Hopper, basically. And she goes through this whole growth and development of who she is and, like, where she came from, dealing with all the issues that she has, with Papa being gone, not knowing about Mama. And then you get more involved with her past as well. You find out some more secrets about her. It was another person that does reviews. Text from Superheroes. So if you like the kind of movie review stuff, I really like their podcast as well. I follow them on Tumblr. And, they're that blog that also does, like, all the texts from, like, all the different DC and, like, Marvel superheroes. They, like, have the texting back and forth. So, yeah, they're really funny. One of the things I agreed with them for season 2 with 11's arc is that how she sort of, with her powers, spoiler here, she meets her sister, basically. Not really a sister. They were in the lab together, in Hawkins' lab. It's not Hawkins' lab. I forget what it's called. I'm sorry. But yeah, they were in the lab together. She basically teaches 11 that in order to further hone her powers, in order to be more powerful, she needs to be angry. She needs to harness all her anger. And, it would have been better for her if at the end, where she had to use, a lot of her power, if she was able to realize that she could use the people she loves as inspiration rather than her anger. Instead, she just focuses on her anger. And I didn't like that. I didn't like that she didn't learn that, which, that's something that could carry on into the further seasons, that she does learn that she doesn't need to be angry anymore. Like, I understand that she's angry. She has a right to be angry. She grew up basically torn away from the family that she did have. And, was an experiment. She never had a family. She was treated as an object. She wasn't treated as a person or as a child, really. And it's severely unfair, and I get that, but I wanted it to be that she does develop that she isn't harnessing her anger. 11's also one of my favorites. I really like Dustin, and I really like 11. Let's see. I think my other only critique really for this season was I think they were a lot gorier with some of the stuff. So that's a huge trigger warning, which I'm glad I saw the trigger for it before I got to this episode. Dustin has a cat. It is a spoiler, but he ends up with a Demogorgon, and it's like a little baby, and it eats the cat. And it's a lot more graphic than you initially think for a monster eating, like, a little cat. But yeah, there's a lot more blood involved than you probably would expect. So yeah, that's a rough scene. And yeah, some of the other deaths there, it was a lot gorier than I think the first season was. And I didn't like that. Cause I'm not a huge gore thing. And with like there was some minor gore, with the Demogorgon and stuff in the first season. I think what I'm mainly thinking of is, like when they found Barb, she wasn't like, all torn apart or anything. She was just sort of kind of melting, which is still gross, but, trigger warning for the cat, because that was a rough scene. It's one of those that I have to mute it and just kind of, look away for a second, but I can't really think of anything else that, I can really critique it for. Like I said, they did a great job, continuing this story, and I really liked that they were able to continue it. Really, my least favorite arc was Nancy. Nancy and Jonathan, I like Jonathan. They're just, out of everybody, they're kind of, the least interesting characters. But, I liked that Nancy and Jonathan's arc, they were dealing more with getting justice for what happened to Barb. But, Nancy kind of grates my nerves a little bit. Nothing really against her. It's more just her character itself. Like, I don't know. And, it's typical teenage girl stuff. It's just, I don't know. I don't know if it's just I don't have the patience for that, or I just, I don't know. I don't particularly care for Nancy, I guess. I think that's everything. Yeah, so I really liked this season. I'm really excited to see how they're going to continue this story. Dustin and Steve kind of hanging out is really adorable. Really, Steve with all the kids is really cute. Oh, I know. They did introduce a new character, Mad Max. She was really cool. I really liked that they were able to bring in, another party member. And, that's one of the things they do really well, is that with these kids, they really do show, little bits and pieces of how they're growing up, basically. Because they're all, like, even though they're dealing with all this, the supernatural stuff, they're still also learning that, kind of growing up and, the coming of age kind of stuff. Because, like, at that age, that's when you really start to learn that, things are a lot harder than they were when you were younger, I do like that. I do like that they're adding more friends, into their group, that they're kind of showing that, everybody's kind of, they're all still friends, but they're kind of, developing their own interests as well. So I do enjoy that. I think one other thing I'd like to address, because once again, coming back to the thing that, all these actors they're still children. Please, leave Finn Wolfhard alone. I've seen a lot of stuff going around, about his comments towards that model who commented that, that he should call her up in a couple of years. That's wrong, okay? Like, don't sexualize these children at all. They're children. That's what they are. They are all under the age of 18. And even still, like, just leave them alone. Like, let them live their lives. They're having a lot of fun doing these kinds of things. And, I think it really shows when, when a child actor isn't having fun with something that they're doing, because they don't have as much emotion behind what they're doing, These kids really seem to be enjoying the stuff that they do. I'm really excited to see, how they'll expand their careers, because really all of them are doing a great job. But yeah, they're kids, let them live, basically. Like, he had every right to be upset by the comment that she made, He's 14. He shouldn't be being preyed upon by a 27-year-old woman. It's not right. And, and people coming to his defense for that, all his, fellow actors and things, don't be bashing them either. Like, they're all friends. They all, they all work together. And quite frankly, she was in the wrong. All right. So, yeah, that's all I'm going to say about that. But yeah, that was Stranger Things season 2. Like I said, I really enjoyed it. I really like this kind of throwback to the sort of, 80s and 90s supernatural kind of movies. It just has such a feel to it. It's just it's very aesthetic, the whole, the show that they're doing. I hope if you guys watch it that you enjoyed as much as I did. Like I said, there were a few spoiler things in here. Mainly, to trigger warning kind of some of the stuff that happened. Mostly the cat, but yeah. So yeah, I hope to, glad you guys are listening. And I hope to see you guys next time. Bye!